Politics now, and the ANC National Executive Committee is meeting in Irene near Pretoria this weekend. President Cyril Ramaphosa will be there, and trying to fix Eskom will be one of his top priorities. Let's go live now to ENCA's Govan Whittles, who is in Irene and watching that gathering for us. So, Govan, what do we understand to be topping the agenda there? The ANC just came back from its January 8 celebrations out in Kimberley, and already you could see some of the friction, the sort of contradictions between what the Deputy President said, for instance, around the issue of whether or not President Ramaphosa was misled on Eskom, and what the presidency then said. Is that one of the issues we can expect on the agenda?
Certainly, Tulasizwe, it's the energy crisis which will be top of the agenda, and it's something which has been building up, and some analysts, political commentators are expecting this National Executive Committee meeting of the ANC to be a theatre where competing forces within the party vied out over the energy crisis and the management of the country's state-owned enterprises. And to put it bluntly, Tulasizwe, the knives may be out for the Public Enterprises Minister, Pravin Gordhan. And even though in the last few days we've seen notable members of the ANC, such as the veterans, coming to his defense, there are still a number of ANC leaders and those in the NEC that are pushing to have him removed. This, of course, after the resignation of Jabu Mabuza, the Eskom chairperson. And some in the ANC are asking, was that resignation enough over the president being misled? And does Pravin Gordhan need to fall on his sword after the president promised that there wouldn't be load shedding, and load shedding was implemented? And throughout all of this, Tulasizwe, I think one thing is clear, is that David Mabuza has set the cat among the pigeons, and he's given the forces hoping to unseat Pravin Gordhan, and by extension, if we go by what the veterans are saying, President Cyril Ramaphosa. He's given them something to latch onto and use in this NEC meeting. But of course, it's the first NEC after the January 8 statement. There's a lot to discuss, but the energy crisis is certainly top of the agenda.
Absolutely. Absolutely there, Govan, and I mean, adding to what you are saying, part of the narrative seeming to suggest that there could even be questions that are asked as to the role of the presidency infrastructure in wading into debates inside the ANC. This after, of course, that statement and also the comments there of the presidency's spokesperson, Khusela Diko, during that whole situation of that confusion about whether or not the president was misled. Tell me then, Govan, how this fits in as far as the cycle of governance is concerned. From here, it's the executive lekgotla, but basically where we are headed is towards State of the Nation address and then the budget. So this is where the message will be crafted.
Indeed, and from here we'll have a government lekgotla, but the inputs to the government lekgotla, the strategic direction that the government will take in terms of its state-owned enterprises, the economy, the areas which it wants to focus on, the possible declaration of more special economic zones, those are discussions that emanate from the ANC lekgotla. And this NEC meeting, which is in session behind me, is supposed to formulate some of the finer direction or finer points in terms of the direction the ANC wants the government to take. So as you've said, it'll be the ANC lekgotla, then the government lekgotla, where they'll fine-tune some of those details, and then the State of the Nation address, which is effectively supposed to set the line of march and the direction for the next year, and the budget, topping that all off with the finances and what is available, what's realistic and what's not. But between all of this, people are asking whether or not the president will effect a cabinet reshuffle. And at this moment, though there may be calls for one, although they're coming from people who want Pravin Gordhan out of his position, it doesn't seem likely yet. I think the clearest indication will come after the ANC lekgotla, probably after the cabinet lekgotla, but it would set a precedent just before the State of the Nation address if he were to do so.
Yeah, Govan, thank you for that. Not forgetting, of course, Tito Mboweni somewhere in the mix there and his views about policies of the ANC. We'll leave it there for now. That's Govan Whittles. He's out in Irene. He's watching the ANC's National Executive Committee meeting underway this weekend.